We got another video on the channel up this morning about Otega Owe sitting down with DeAndre Liggins to have a little one-on-one. This seems like it's part of a series that Mark Pope's team has put together where current players get to sort of interview with players on the TBT La Familia team. It's really cool. Anyways, one of these interviews was Andrew Harrison with Jaland Lowe, new Kentucky point guard, old Kentucky point guard. And these two have a lot of connections, actually, that are talked about in this interview where there's some familial stuff where Jaland Lowe's dad trained and worked with the Harrison twins as they became stars at the prep levels. So part of Jaland Lowe even getting to Kentucky, it sounds like, was some conversations between his family and the Harrison twins. So that's reciprocated in this interview. It's really cool to hear Jaland talk about Andrew Harrison's impact on him and his basketball career. And Andrew Harrison returned the favor as well. But anyways, you can go watch this. You can read the full write-up on this as well on the KSR on 3 site. Shout out to Tyler Thompson for doing the write-up on this. But a lot of interesting quotes from Andrew Harrison. I'm going to read a couple right now. He talks about the differences between Calipari era and Pope era. Says it's just a little different now. It's a different kind of culture. Coach Pope is real Kentucky-like, and Coach Cal was a little more players, but he's the perfect guy. Andrew Harrison talked about the swings you can have being the Kentucky point guard. He said, "You win, man, you're the greatest. If you don't, you're the worst. It's a good thing to have all these expectations on you. If you didn't have all the expectations, no one would care." Really trying to prepare Jaland Lowe for what this season will be like. Jaland Lowe is a player who has had some wild swings in his performances in his career in college thus far, but ultimately Andrew Harrison settled on one very important takeaway here. He said, quote, "I'm excited to see what you can do. This team can go as far as you take them." Quite the words from a former leader, floor general point guard of a very successful Kentucky era, Andrew Harrison, on Jaland Lowe being the guy who will lead this team as far as Jaland Lowe can take them. Your thoughts? I can't hear
Wait,
anything. What was that?
damn it, man. I really got to figure that out. It's ruining my bits that I can't play that. That was a siren noise. That was an alarm. That was we have been breached. It was a couple different things. Um, huh? Look, I I like what Lowe can do. I like that. I'm higher on him than other people I think are. But if that is the determining factor on where this team goes, there's no way Kentucky fans feel good about that. Like that's what's gonna make or break me. The guy that struggled with Pitt because he got hurt, of course. Yeah, I get it. I understand it. But you want, at least in my opinion, you want the guy that's gonna make or break your team. Like I want it to be like Otega Owe. Or I don't know, like maybe a guy with a maybe like what JQ does will make or break this team. It being low would scare me. It might be true, which, that's fine. That's scary if it's true though, because that could go one or two ways. Like that could be like, oh, it's really, really good. That could also derail the whole team because he can derail things. Pitt was
Yeah.
very much derailed, and he was a part of that. Whether you want to say he could do all he could do, like say what you want, but that's a scary proposition, if that's the case. And is it true though? Like, is Lowe the swing piece?
This video is brought to you by NBA 2K Labs or maybe college football labs because the people behind 2K Labs have just built something awesome. CFBLabs.com has everything you need to play college football 26 even better. Cart, you've been playing the game, right?
I have been, but I'm behind the eight ball, Gregory. There's a lot of people out there who got a little bit of edge on me, but the good folks over at 2K Labs got me covered. They got the playbooks I need, the plays, the head-to-head coaches, knowing some teams. Obviously, way too many college football teams. I need the inside edge here, and they got all different types of things to help me get that edge.
Yeah, I jumped in and started playing Road to Glory over the weekend, and I ended up like a two-star recruit that did not get one snap in season one because I chose the wrong school with the wrong roster that was way too loaded. Had I known that CFBLabs.com exists, I would have made a much more wise decision in my Road to Glory mode. They've got teams, playbooks, coaches, team comparison tools. You can literally see every single play in the game, every player in the game, their rating, what they're good at, all in one consolidated place online to help you make the right choices and win more games in college football 26. CFBLabs.com. Go check it out. I think it is. I think it is. I do.
I like to bump Kentucky to 7 in my preseason ranking.
I have them like 8 to 10. That's where I've had them all along. I think that's the beauty and the tragedy that is Jaland Lowe. I think he's just a player of wild swings, wild variations, not the most efficient guy. When he's on fire, his team wins. When he's not on fire, at least historically, it was hard for his team to win. I think the hope is at Kentucky, you don't need to rely on the swings as much, right? If it's a bad Jaland Lowe game, in steps Jasper Johnson, in steps Denzel Aberdeen. You have a three-man backcourt with Otagoe that's still totally fine. You don't even need to play Jaland Lowe. But on the nights where he's on fire and with gradual improvement in a quote-unquote perfect fit Mark Pope system, hopefully he becomes a more efficient player and less is asked of him. I think it's one of the more interesting landing spots, though. It truly is, because there is an element of like the Caleb Love effect here. I don't mean to compare Jaland Lowe and Caleb Love as players. I don't think they're all that similar. But to me, when you build your offense around Caleb Love, just ultimately doesn't matter what everyone else on the court does. You're going to go where Caleb Love takes you. And I think in that sense, like people might mistake this as like a passing comment from Andrew Harrison. Like, he got to sit down for the documentary series and he's doing his job. I actually think it's like a really poignant, true statement. Like, this team will probably go wherever Jaland Lowe decides because, respectfully to Otega Owe is phenomenal. He's the best player on this team. I don't think Otega Owe, without like serious breakout stuff around him, is like a first option on a title team. He's a first option on a team like last year's team, which is good. Sweet 16, top 5, 6 in the SEC. That's what last year's team was. There was no Jaland Lowe. There was no Jaden Quaintance on last year's Kentucky team. They were really likable and really fun, but by the end of the year when there were injuries, it was just Otega and nothing else. So I think the beauty of this is it's true. Jaland Lowe is going to have to be awesome, and if he is awesome, Kentucky can win a national title. If he's not awesome, he's probably going to be the scapegoat sometimes, much like Caleb Love was. And I think Andrew Harrison is kind of, it's awesome for me to hear him be real about it, right? Because I gave that quote right before this where he goes, listen, when you're great, they love you. When you're bad, it's the worst. And then he immediately follows that up by putting all the pressure on Jaland Lowe and be like, get ready for it. Like, you better deal with it because it's coming.
Mm.
And who better on earth that would know that than the Harrison twins, right? I mean, those guys know more about the pressure of being Kentucky's guards than probably anybody on the planet. They stuck around for multiple years. They saw the mountaintop, and then ultimately they saw tragedy when they got to the mountaintop. So I don't know. I feel like this is going to be something we remember at points this season. Be like, Andrew Harrison tried to warn him, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, and to that point though, like it is. The part that I like about this is it does seem to be low key a mixture of we're leaving old Kentucky behind, but also there's still a standard, which I think Pope has made it very clear what the standard at Kentucky is. But it's like a mixture of guys with chips on their shoulder, but also mixing in the fact that this is Kentucky. There is a standard. Being a guard at Kentucky means something, whether Cal's the coach or not. You're a Kentucky guard, so it is something that you can't ignore the fact that it does come with some expectations.
Yeah, 100%. But you just are sticking strong in the idea that like if Jaland Lowe decides where your team goes, that's not a good thing for your team.
I'm trying to think like it's like see I don't want to it's like there's an easy bet to make, right? But you can't help but be like, well, what if I put nine underdogs together and put $5 on this to win 97,000? like, yeah, it could work out, but like it could also go south. He could also not win it because it's a long shot.
That's the odds we're putting on Jalen Lowe,
That's a
future
little
championship
aggressive.
point guard.
It's all I'm saying is it wouldn't make me like I want to be optimistic and I think it'll be good. Like I like him as a player. I'm not saying it's gonna go completely south. That being the deciding factor would just have me a little bit uneasy. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, because again, there's just variation in Jalen Lowe performances. That's always been true.